If you're not a BMW enthusiast, you probably won't even realize that this is a new model upon first glance. It looks quite similar to the last generation, the F30, but this is an entirely different model. Its body code is G20. The most obvious change has to be the grille. Rather than having two separate kidney grills like on the F30, the new grills on the G20 are connected at the center. They're also bigger than the F30's grille. I think the larger grille gives the G20 a more premium look. I do think that the F30 looks a bit more aggressive than the G20 because of its squintier headlights. Like all modern BMWs, the G20 also has active kidney grills, which open and close depending on whether the engine needs cooling or not. This is to improve aerodynamics. Like the F30, the G20 also has 4 ridges sculpted on the hood. Since this is the msport model, it gets sportier bumpers. It gets bigger 18-inch wheels, and it's lower by about 10mm compared to the non-msport variant. The G20 and the F30 look almost identical when viewed from the side. You get a few more upswept creases on the G20, and overall the G20 looks slightly beefier, but the tweaks that BMW made were very subtle. At the back, the changes are a little bit more noticeable. I wasn't really a fan of the all-red taillights of the F30. The taillights of the G20 are a noticeable improvement. The G20's taillights are smoked at the top and then red at the bottom. They remind me of Lexus taillights. Like I said before, this M Sport model has a different rear bumper, which looks nice except for the fake air vents. BMW doesn't really change their design formula drastically over generations. In some ways, that's a good thing. They update the design enough that it looks current, but not so much that it makes the previous generation look old. So their cars don't age as quickly as most Japanese cars. If you drive around in a previous generation F30, no one would think that you're in an older model. The new 3 Series is slightly bigger than the outgoing model. It is 76mm longer and 16mm wider. But despite its larger dimensions, it is lighter by about 120 pounds. They also made improvements to the rigidity of the chassis. The new chassis is more rigid by about 50%. Unlike its name might suggest, the 330i is not powered by a 3.3-liter engine. It's powered by a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. Those numbers might sound unimpressive at first, but it produces a very respectable 258 horsepower and 350 Newton meters of torque. It is also pretty quick. It can do 0 to 100 kph in 5.8 seconds. Of course, like all BMWs 3 Series and above, the engine powers the rear wheels.
Okay, as expected, you have premium quality materials. The steering wheel is leather covered and it's very nicely padded. You have notches on the 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock positions. This is plastic. This is aluminum. Over here you have a wireless charging port. You have 2 cup holders. You have a USB port, a 12-volt outlet. Over here is your knob for the Idrive. There's also touchscreen, and your shift knob, which is fully electronic. Your start-stop button is over here. Then you have an electronic parking brake, dual zone climate control. All the buttons feel crisp. Okay, let's turn this off. There we go. This is plastic. The seats feel very good. They're covered in high quality leather. The ceiling is covered in leather. Okay, this is not leather, it is some sort of rubbery material. Okay, so legroom is a bit less than expected, but it's manageable. Over here is a center armrest with 2 cup holders. I don't think that they can hold very large cups. Umbrella. Headroom is decent. You have 2 air vents with climate control buttons over here. 1 12-volt outlet.
I've been a BMW fan for a while now. I've had an E36, I've had an E39, and right now I have an E90. It's a love-hate relationship most of the time, but I've always been charmed by them, despite all their flaws. BMW used to be at the forefront of technology and luxury. I find that is becoming less and less the case, as Japanese and Korean manufacturers encroach on their territory. If you want excellent build quality, a luxurious interior, a nicely sculpted exterior, and high-tech features, you don't have to pay 4.6 million pesos on a car. You can get a top-of-the-line Mazda 3 or a Mazda 6, and you'll have a car that's just as refined as the new 3 Series at less than half the cost. But the BMW 330i offers more than just luxury and technology. It also has performance to boot. It has 258 horses under the hood, and all those horses power the right set of wheels, the rear wheels. And you also get the pedigree that BMW has built up for over 100 years, and all the perks that go along with it.